see myself. All right. All righty. So, good morning, everybody. Please confirm that you can see me and that you can hear me. Yes, I know. Good morning, everyone. You're wondering what's going on with my hair. Don't wonder. Please, no comment. Just be here and just pay attention. It's my birthday week upcoming. All right, let's go. It's Module 2, Day 2. Today, we're talking about calm not being a personality trait. No, you're seeing orange, not red. I'm not wearing red. Yadas, please hold yourself right now. All right. Calm is not a personality trait, it is a skill that you must teach. That's our model for today. Team, please, can I have my slides? Thank you so much so that we can go on. Thank you. I said nobody should make comment on this hair and tell me how beautiful it looks. Concentrate. That's why I don't like making hairs like this. Pay attention. You guys, focus. Now, children are not born knowing how to calm themselves. And self-regulation is a learned neurological skill. It's not good behavior, it's not maturity, and most of the times, most parents punish children when they are deregulated instead of teaching deregulation. Now, your emotional state is what states the temperature of your home. That's what sets the temperature of your home. Most parents think that they are reacting to their children, but they are not. They're actually reacting to the emotional climate that they created. So a thermostat reads the temperature. A thermometer reads the temperature. A thermostat sets it. And whether you realize it or not, you are the thermostat. You are setting the temperature of your home. Most times when you go to, a particular home, you will notice whether that home there's friction or not, in that home. You are the one that will, you will see it. You will see how the relationship is or the atmosphere. There are homes that you enter, I don't know if you've noticed, everywhere is so stiff. So I used to actually go to a particular home of a friend, and every time that I get in there, you just feel this heaviness, this stiffness, this everywhere is there's tension. That's what I like to call it. All right? There's tension. Tension everywhere. You just see that if anything happens, any little thing happens, everywhere is going to explode. So even you as the visitor, you are going to be counting your words, checking what you're saying so that the bullet will not land on you. How many of you have noticed what it is that I'm talking about? So you find out that it's not really the children that sets this atmosphere. It is the parent that actually set this atmosphere. And most times, we actually want to blame the children for the atmosphere that we have set. But truth be told, you set it. So calmness is not a prayer point. Calmness is not. When you go to a home where children get to just, tiptoe and all of that, you will feel it. And calmness is not you being quiet. I needed to say that. So a lot of people come to me and say, I'm a very quiet person. There's a way we say it in the inner circle. You are calm, but Oboete Market is buying your head. Do you know what that means? Afio Oboete. Oboete is in Enugu State. So a market is literally buying and selling your head, but you're quiet. So a lot of people come to me and say, oh, but I'm a quiet person. But being calm is a different conversation. You can be calm and be very chaotic. I've seen it happen all the time. So there is a process to learning calm. And that's one of the things that you're going to be teaching, learning today. There's a process to learning calm, right? So it's you can actually, a quiet person can actually mask all of those things: agitation, inner turbulence. But calm is a state you cultivate intentionally. So calm is not lack of noise. There are very noisy people who are calm. So the distinction is critical because your children, your family, they're not just reacting to your words, they are constantly reading your energy. All right. So learning calm is like training for music. It involves awareness, regulation, consistency, practice, not just staying silent. Okay. So what are we talking about this morning? I want to share a story in the scripture for you. I love using the scriptures to teach. When you look at the Gospel of Matthew 14:22 to 23, that part where Peter was walking on water. Now, Peter sees Jesus walking on water, and then he steps out in faith. He says, Master, can I come? And then Jesus says, Oh, come. But fear overtakes him. The moment that fear overtook Peter, he began to sink. The Bible said that he sank in immediately, he got afraid. So apparently, he started to look at every other person around him. Maybe the other disciples were even saying, you're walking on water, you cannot see. Have you ever noticed that when you start intentional parenting journey, people begin to tell you that thing does not work? Oh, you want to parent your child without beating? You will spoil them. It doesn't work. They are the voices that actually began to speak to Peter on the water. But he was already walking on water, and he could see himself walk on water. I tell you a story. When I started parenting, I realized that a lot of people told me that, oh no, I cannot raise children without beating them or yelling. So anytime I wrote on Facebook, people came to me to actually puncture everything. They said, look at you, your children are just 5. And you don't even know anything, you've not started. Very soon, you will know that parenting, 20 is a number. So it sounded like a threat. I was like, okay, what does this exactly mean? Does it mean that nobody can actually raise a child without? But I've seen it happen. I saw my own mom raise us without having to yell or hit. But of course, there were too many voices. So what did I do? I started to surround myself with the right kind of voices. That's one of the things that help parents in the inner circle. So parents in the inner circle get into the inner circle and they see people with like mind say same thing. So they're like, oh, it's possible. But when you stay in environments where people keep telling you, you went to do emotional intelligence course, forget this thing. It does not work. All these emotional intelligence words. And today, wait, let your children become teenagers. I was told all of that. In fact, people told me that it's when my children become teenagers that this beating, I'm not beating them. I will see Shege. I am parenting the most amazing teenagers ever today. And trust me, being a mom of teenagers is the best thing that happened to me on my parenting journey. I have the least struggle. I have the least, I have everything. There's no struggle at all. So when people say, oh, teenagers are the worst, when you get there, you will see what will happen. I don't have that story. I don't. Now let's circle back to the conversation about Jesus. All right. Now, what did Jesus do when Peter began to sing? Jesus immediately reaches out his hand. He does not scold Peter for doubting. He stabilizes Peter before he corrects his fear. Oh, thou of little faith, why did you doubt? He first of all said, give me your hand. Get out of the water. The lesson, a calm hand first, a teaching hand second. That's how it works. A teaching hand second. Children are like Peter. They step into emotional storms. When fear takes over, they cannot self-regulate. Our instinct will be to yell. Our instinct will be to punish. Our instinct will be to demand calmness. Calm down. I will tell you why calm down doesn't work. But the true parental role that you have is your steadiness, your steady presence, and your calming voice. Authority without calm is equal to fear. Calm with authority is what is internalized regulation. Ask yourself, when my child panics, or cries or explodes, do I reach in to stabilize? Or do I shout instructions from the shore? Am I Jesus in the storm kind of parent? Or am I the calm down kind of parent? Because children don't just need rules. They need calm hands, steady hearts, and a safe place so that they can feel. So anytime that you find yourself in those environments where some of these things, haven't asked yourself, who are the people that I'm speaking to? Peter started to hear things he shouldn't hear. The miracle was already there. Everything was already happening. So apart from taking this course, I want to talk to you about environment. Environment. One of the most solid things that you're going to hear, all right, is that environment is bigger than value system. When you put a warm food in a freezer, no matter how warm it is, the freezer encapsulates it and then it becomes frozen. There is no person who can get into the freezer and survive not being cold. So it's okay for you to say, oh, every other person, every other thing that is working, it's okay, my friends, they don't really. If you don't get yourself into a system to walk this journey, you will constantly be pulled down. The problem is not whether you will yell again, because you will. You will not, you will get out of this class, you will still yell, you still get upset, but do you have a system that helps you not to actually fall into the traps? The traps of you're walking in water is impossible. The traps of, do you think that this thing is going to work? Better find another way, because that's not how we do it here. The trap of culture, the trap of people that think they know. Law of suggestions. People will suggest to you. You paid to be in a parenting class. Ooh, it doesn't work because you have tried it once and it looks like it's not working. And because the moment you yell again, you fall back. You're going to go back to that environment. But when you are in the right kind of environment, even when you fall, you're able to say, okay, in this place, what is being taught is not, like the others will say, my voice will ring in your head. My voice will ring in your head. My voice ringing in your head doesn't mean that you will not make mistakes. It means that you are able to self-regulate. Remember what I said about being able to take yourself from the place where you have fallen and gracefully return to where you should be. That's emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is not perfection. So when you see yourself, that by the time you continue, there's something I said to the others this morning. I say, fake it until you make it. By the time you continue, we don't do that here. That's how we do things. All of a sudden, it becomes a part of you. So it becomes second nature. It becomes the environment you exist in. It becomes the environment you exist in. Because if you finish this class and then you do the 5 days, beautiful, you will watch it that throughout the time you're doing this class, a lot of things will not be there. You'll be conscious, but leave it. After like 1 month, 2, you find out that the consciousness, you're returning back to where you're coming from. It's not because you didn't learn. It's because that's how the brain works. Now, let's get into the third part. Self-regulation is learned neurological skill. It's not good behavior or maturity. And most of the times, parents punish this. So the big lie, this module is going to break. If my child keeps acting this way, it means they are stubborn, disrespectful, and manipulative. That's not true. It's just that the child cannot regulate. Now, let's look at, the part. Children do not come wired with self-control. No, they don't. Thank you so much, Life with my CP warrior, sharing that this morning. All right? Your life can actually become really better. Somebody say I'm trying, but this hair is distracting me. I will cut it off. I bind you right now. But I bind anybody distracted by this look. Bind you in Jesus' name. Now, neuroscience calls for regulation. All right? It calls for. So today, we're talking about the child's nervous system. And anytime that the child's nervous system is there, right? You find out that it's unfinished. It's scanning constantly. Is it safe here? Is my parent calm? Is this, problem survivor? Am I in danger? If your voice rises, their body will rise. If your breathing shortens, their anxiety will heighten. If your face tightens, their brain will register threat. Your child does not learn emotional control from your instructions. I needed to say that again. Your child does not learn emotional control from your instructions. Your child does not learn emotional control from your instructions. They learn it from your nervous system. They learn it from your nervous system. That's why two parents can give same instruction. One is obeyed, the other is resisted. The difference is the emotional temperature. You cannot shout a child into calmness. You cannot intimidate a child into security. You cannot shame a child into self-control. They become what they absorb. The question will be, what are they absorbing? That's the question. What are they absorbing? And that's the heart of emotional regulation. So it's not about your words. And I've been talking. Talking is not a disciplinary strategy. I shared that in my book, Discipline That Works. Talking, I think I have a copy here. Talking is not a discipline strategy. When I said verbal correction, people say, Ma, I've been correcting, I've been talking. You are talking without actually being able to understand how to correct. It's a process. You can talk and it will just be nothing. All right? So it's not because when one parent is instructing another, it's because it's shouting transfers tension. That's the truth. Intimidation transfers fear. Shame doesn't create self-control. I wrote something about shame. People told me, shame can do a lot. When I was small, shame is what stopped me from doing this. That's what you think. Shame doesn't create control. It transfers confusion and self-doubt. The truth of the matter is that a lot of us actually think that shame made them who they are. When I was stealing, they brought me, my parents beat me, and that was the last time I ever took anything. Let me tell you what exactly happened to your brain. It's not that you stopped. God. Now, you assume that it made your child behave differently, but it shaped them. Now, this is what happens to the brain. Stress triggers the amygdala, the part of the brain that detects danger. When a child is ashamed or beaten, their brain goes into what we call the fight or the flight mode. Now, the prefrontal cortex shuts down temporarily, the part responsible for decision making. So the child is not learning moral lesson. The child begins to survive. Now, the memory decodes fear, not value. What sticks in that emotional experience is not instruction. They remember the confusion, the threat, the doubt. Am I loved? Did I do something wrong? Behavior changes temporarily, not permanently. So a child may stop stealing one time, but the brain has learned fear, not self-control. So later, without fear present, old impulses may return because self-regulation never took root. So shame creates obedience in the moment, not emotional intelligence for life. What actually shapes your child is what they absorb from that nervous system, the calm, the consistency, the security. All right? So at the end of the day, you think that the shame made you stop. It's just like when I hear people say, they shamed me for bedwetting, and then I stopped bedwetting. And that happens many, many of the times. Most of you are still beating children for bedwetting. You're still, telling them, carry your mattress outside, let everybody see that you just bedwetted. You are killing that child. And in adulthood, it always shows. It always shows. Some of us think that is those shame that shaped us. You know the truth. You can actually beat a child, all right, and the child will temporarily stop bedwetting because there's fear. But shame spikes the stress response. So self-worth is also hijacked. They learn unconsciously. I'm shameful. I feel unworthy. Why do you think people have, what do you people call it? Um, um, doubt syndrome, like the syndrome of I'm trying to remember the right word. Um, you feel that you're not worthy of that thing. You second guess yourself. A lot of people say, "Oh, I started business." Someone should help me with the word. I started business. I don't feel like I'm worthy of it. I feel like I'm not supposed to be the one teaching this thing. Imposter syndrome. Thank you, Debbie Echo. Yes, imposter syndrome. So shame in childhood is one of the things that actually causes imposter syndrome in adulthood. People ask me about imposter syndrome. I honestly didn't have imposter syndrome. Now, shame is a direct pathway, and I see a lot of adults go through imposter syndrome. Yeah. So, childhood shame teaches I'm not enough. When a child is shamed for mistake, for accident, for normal struggles like bedwetting, failing a test, spilling something, the nervous system internalizes I'm flawed. I should hide this part of myself, right? Now, behavior is suppressed, confidence is not built. Children learn to avoid exposure, they learn to cover up mistake, they learn to perform only under fear of shame. So you are afraid of being ashamed. That's why you are so ashamed when your child does something. I've never been able to understand it. So your child does something, now you shame the catch. They say, I told my children, I say, if they spell it in school, I write book. Parents will buy what? I will use it to teach powerful lesson. There was time when expulsion was raining for senior students. I say, well, it's okay. You guys go to school and you expel. I will use you for my teaching and you'll be all right. Me, shame. As in, I'm supposed to be ashamed because I'm a coach or what? No, don't even bring it to me. A lot of people, some people think, oh, that person is a child of this coach. They should not behave a certain way for where it's not me you can bring shame to. You walk the hall of shame yourself. Why are you carrying your child's shame? You know why? Because there is something in you that have been instilled in the shame pathway. So you are ashamed when everything isn't perfect. So your wall of shame is for you to walk. They spell it, they bring out the school. Woo, nobody can shame me. I have carried my own shame. I shall not be carrying yours. And Jesus died for all our shame. I've exchanged mine on the cross. I don't know about you, my dear son. You need to learn to exchange your own. So children learn to avoid this exposure. You begin to perform. Not because you believe in their abilities. Now, adulthood mirrors that insecurity. You're constantly questioning your self-worth. People say, but I turned out okay. They shamed me. I stopped it. If not for that shame, I would have been stealing. At what cost is the question you need to be answering today. So you stopped it, I agree with you. But at what cost? It becomes imposter syndrome. You're constantly asking yourself, am I worthy of this? Am I worthy of this exposure? Am I faking it? Sometimes you're even teaching, you're asking yourself, am I faking this thing? Even when you're highly competent. You're highly competent. The nervous system is remembering the old rule. If people see me, I'll be rejected. I'll be humiliated. The cycle repeats. Except there is healing. Without conscious intervention, adults continue to self-shame, self-doubt, and overcompensate, often in high-achieving contests. Imposter syndrome is not about skill. It's not about ability. It's about emotional imprint for shame. Your brain learned fear and self-doubt in childhood. And that energy is what is speaking into your life today. So when people say, oh, I have imposter syndrome, I don't know. And I see it because I mentor people, I see it all the time. It appears on my table all the time. Coach, I don't feel like I should be doing this. I don't feel like you can't see yourself. That's it. That's it. You're selling, you're even ashamed of selling the thing that you're selling. You don't want people to know that you sell crayfish because you have a law degree or that you sell plantain chips. I don't know if Tani is here. I had that conversation. Meanwhile, today, that brand is one of the biggest plantain chip brands ever in Nigeria. But shame was going to kill it. Shame from childhood. Imagine if it wasn't dealt with. Imagine if it wasn't dealt with. So all this imposter syndrome is coming from your childhood. That's where it's coming from. That's where it's coming from. So that's the emotional imprint. And part of what you need to deal with is the healing process of shame. Healing process of shame. You know, I'm a lawyer. It's part of it. Some of us are in the places where we think that, you know, there's something below you. It's not normal. It's coming from your childhood. You know, there are things I can't do. You know, it's really below me. You think that, oh no, I can't sell crayfish with my degree in medicine. You know, it's not, you know, I know too much to be selling crayfish. Hunger, poverty is wiring you. Somebody who is selling crayfish is making money. What are you talking about? It's because of the things that we were sold to. It's in your head. It's in your head. So before you come out and say, but they did it to me, and I turned out okay. See, that feeling, that internal hierarchy of what's been there to me is a feeling of, you know, starting work, starting roles, certain opportunities are somehow too low and below education status and expectations. It's not about the work. It's imprinted in childhood. Messages like, that's not for someone like you. You should, you're too good for that. It came subtle, but it's actually overt shame. It's actually overt sin. So the nervous system absorbs it as what I call value judgment, not practically advice. So it's not just ego. Ego is learned. So it shapes your risk-taking and adaptability. That's what is happening. That is your risk-taking and adaptability. You avoid opportunities, even profitable one, because the inner voice says, I'm above this. I can't do this. Meanwhile, someone else is thriving. It's that same space because they were not sold shame to, or they've dealt with the shame that they were sold to. So they see opportunity. They don't see judgment. So reality doesn't care about shame you absorbed. That's the worst part. It rewards action. It rewards action. So success comes from doing, learning, adapting, not from avoiding something because our childhood imposed value judgment. You know, and you know, those feelings, I can't do it, I'm too educated, I'm too good, I'm too capable. They are childhood shame masquerading as sophistication. The real work is you need to learn to distinguish between social judgment and practical opportunity. Conversation for another day. Let's go. There are a lot of people who are, you know, stuck here, and that's simply because you are stuck here because that's what it is you were given. That's what you were given. Now let's circle back. I've talked about the brain. All right. So one of the things that you see is that research shows that a deregulated brain cannot be reasoned with. I often say that a child a child who actually is angry. An angry child is not a listening child. That's one of the things we say in my home. An angry child is not a listening child. They don't listen to you. So they say, my child is angry. You're talking a lot. You're talking too much. All right? So talking more makes it worse. Threats will increase the fear, not compliance. Let me move. There's something about compliance and calm that I want to teach you today. Let's move quickly. All right? Yes, there is childhood shame. What's the difference between compliance and calm? So I'm going to be sharing with you a checklist today. I had to create this checklist this morning when I was trying to do the, the part of what it is that we're doing. There's a checklist, a different, between calm and compliance, how you're going to be able to check it and all of that. So I will be sharing it in the community after the session. But let's look at what I call the 3-step process to learn calm. Number 1 is awareness. You need to know your inner weather. Before you can project calm, you need to recognize your own emotional state. Notice what you're feeling per time. Am I frustrated? Am I angry? Am I impatient? Am I stressed? Am I anxious? Then you label it. This is how I'm feeling right now. Now, one of the things that you find is um, the emotional, words. I'm going to talk about it in one of the modules. You being able to learn more emotional words. All right, learn more emotional words, so you are able to actually understand. We're taught happiness and sadness. We don't really have a lot of emotional words, but what you want to do is to get the emotional words and learn them. Sometimes you're disappointed but you think you're angry, so the first thing you want to do is, you know this is what I am feeling per time. Strangers will sense, even your children, will sense your internal turbulence even when you're silent. That's why I said that calm is not quietness. So awareness is the first place to start to control your temperature that you set. Number two will be regulation. Reset your nervous system. Once you know your state, you can now shift internally. So you breathe. You know that auntie voice I said yesterday? You call yourself auntie, come all the way down. And once you're able to say that to yourself, you find sometimes I say it and I start to laugh because I realize that it's not that hard. It's not a lot. Sometimes your children have thrown things everywhere. You are sometimes let it slide. It's not everything. For those of us who have cleanliness anxiety like me, I have clean toilet anxiety, clean house anxiety, clean bathroom anxiety, clean kitchen anxiety, according to my children. I have a level of OCD that need to be dealt with. I like things arranged a certain way and all of that. But sometimes, right, you don't create tension unnecessarily. Hey, every time you're shouting, every time no, can you calm down? Breathe, like they say in Nigerian palace. Just breathe. Let me tell you a story. So the family lounge in our house, when you are going into my room, the second sitting room is our family lounge. And as we were walking through one of those days, the twins were around. I looked at the family lounge because a few people who are big close to us comes up, upstairs and all of that. And I looked at the family lounge and I saw bedsheet here. I saw duvet on their side. I saw this is my house as it's prim and proper. I saw, my children can be prim and proper as well. But as I was passing, I wanted to say, who kept this Oya pick? I just said, Auntie, calm down. How long will these children be here? Do you know the truth? Sometimes, just breathe. When you really think about it, right? When you really think about it, you will realize that after a long while, the house one day will be so together. So when the twins are not around, the house is so clean, so well put together. No, you won't see anyone put bedsheet anywhere or any duvet lying down in my sitting room or something. So now I make a joke out of it. You can try that. I'll be like, I think I'm going to actually do you guys park when you guys grow up, right? And then my children laugh. It's always funny to them. And then they get to put it together. They get to, just breathe. Create fun out of it. Don't make it look as if somebody died because nobody died. Even if somebody died, you are still alive. There's something we say in the yard. Nobody died now. Calm down. If you really learn to breathe, take a deep breath. All right? Take a deep breath and just slowly breathe for 90 seconds. It will calm your nervous system. Try it. As you want to talk, just say, and just, and just breathe. So you can prep yourself. I told you yesterday that I had unkept kitchen. My kitchen is white, platform white, everywhere white. So my kitchen is always, and it's been like that. My kitchen has been like that for years, like sparkling. I like to take pictures in my kitchen, and my kitchen is one of my favorite places. And then now, as I'm coming back, I'll be telling myself, you might see a stain of oil on one part because they've cooked. When you do, just say, please, can you kindly clean this oil right away? So you need to actually tell yourself, breathe. start talking to yourself. It's a good place to be. And when you do, I'm coming from a lot. I'm coming from somebody who didn't understand calmness as a skill. I was praying prayer. Oh Lord, if you check my Shiloh card, God give me calm. God does not give you calm. Now you go train the calmness. I'm sure God was just looking at me and just saying, "Oh my daughter, you don't even know how it works. Just breathe." Right? Don't suffocate yourself. Don't kill yourself with yelling. Don't, everything is not high tension. And then when the children now leave eventually, Ghana in school, nobody, your house will not be speak and span. Nobody to scatter the house. You'll not be saying, I wish the children are around or I'm missing them. Breathe. I'm not saying don't teach them, but I'm saying breathe. Sometimes. Just allow some things to slide. Sometimes. Right? Just breathe. Now, one of the things that I've learned is that when you feel that way, ground yourself. Feel your feet on the ground. Remove your shoe. Your body, is supported. It reminds your body, yourself, that you're safe and you're present. Remove your shoe. Put it on the floor and just say, okay, I'm here. What has happened? What's gone wrong? And then before responding to every chaos, just take 2 to 3 seconds. The golf is here. So let me tell you a story about me and about my children, right? My husband is here. Shout out to you, the golf. And, so my children were doing analysis of us and waking them up in the morning. My children say I used to wake them up like sleeping is a sin. He says, let's compare mommy's waking up and daddy's waking up. I don't usually wake them up, right? Their father has all the techniques and all the mechanics of getting them to wake them up. They're like, mommy will say, if it's okay. It's okay, just stand up. It's enough. The sleep is enough. Who is on my table? The sleep is okay. Wake up. Let us move forward. And then their father will come, sing song. I said, we don't have time. What is chasing us is a lot. You guys stop dragging me. But what they were saying it. I'm sharing it so that you understand that this is not a journey to perfection. It doesn't mean that those of us who are teaching are perfect. We're doing no. It just means it's your consciousness. Now, while they were saying this story of mommy wakes us up like sleeping, in fact, when my daughter said it, mommy, you wake us up like sleeping is a sin. In fact, when you conclude, you're like, it's okay. It's okay, fair. Stand up. He said, you will not shout up, but just say, it's okay, fair. Stand up. It's okay. The sleep is enough. You can't continue to sleep. And then she said, but that's somebody who is already lying down and sleeping. No time to regulate and come back. No time for transition. Just wake up fast. Let's move. Just breathe. As they were saying the thing, I was like, okay. I said, Shebi, it's because I woke you up 2 times. I said, your father will continue his job, please. I'm no longer doing this thing. Right? But what am I saying? There's a lot. You see that sometimes it's just us getting agitated. I like being fast. So anything that is not fast, which one do you want to take 2 hours to wake up? What's going on? Wake up, Jerry. Let's move. Life is moving. Life is moving. We begin to learn. We learn and we begin to actually get, most of the time the twins actually wake up on their own these days, and from the time that they've trained to do that. But that helps you to give you, right? That helps you to give you like some kind of stuff to look at. All right. So breathe, ground yourself, pause. I shared that so that it can help you. And calm is contagious. Remember what I said about your environment. Because my husband is very calm, extremely calm, nothing ruffles him, right? So when I'm trying to get agitated, he's so calm that you actually get angry that he's calm. That kind of thing, right? So I started to learn. It's also the environment I find myself. So when people talk to me, right? When people talk to me about, oh, my husband is not calm, oh, me, myself, what I say to them is work on yourself. The moment you begin to create calm, you find that the environment that you stay in becomes even calmer. People pick this environment. People pick this temperature. People pick things. All right. It's just contagious. There's something around you, that just makes, so concentrate on yourself. Don't start fighting for the next person. You have come to this class, right? You have come to this class. You are learning that this house. We say, that's my husband. Tell them, tell them. Are you on that table of tell them? Climb down. Now, I bind you. So say, tell me. So this is not about your wife or your husband, in case your spouse is not here. It's about you. Continue to create an atmosphere of calm until you get to the point where people around you just absorb it. See, you come with agitation around my husband. Hey, it just brings down all the agitation to the floor. And you're like, hi, God, where do I start? When you regulate yourself first, you co-regulate people around you. And let me say this to men who are listening to me. You actually regulate the system in your home and the temperature the way it looks. So apparently, because the curve is that calm, our home is very, calm. But we're noise makers, right? We make noise, we shout, we scream, and all of that. But we have a very calm, welcoming, soothing temperature in our home. So you are the regulator. Now, if you cannot, your husband is not the one regulating, you are not, take the mantle. You are the savior of that home today. Become, have you not noticed? There are people that I've seen in the yard. They've started, and then, their thermometer, their thermostat is, and all of that. They was like, you are calm these days. In fact, a particular man said, what are you reading? Where are you? I want to collect whatever it is that you're learning because I can see how much you have changed. So don't point fingers. Regulate yourself first. That's what you should do. Then step 3 is projection. Communicate calm through action. Calm is not an inner state. It needs to show up externally. Voice. Keep it measured, slow, steady. Avoid raising it in response to agitation. Because I grew up in an environment where my father raises voice, I actually started to raise voice. When I got married, it was one of the things that put me through learning this. So, of course, you even raise voice, they will tell you are shouting. You say, did I shout? That's how I talk. Auntie, that's not how that you're shouting. Lower your voice. Don't be like me in the past. I was on that table. In fact, you argue that you didn't shout. And then when you didn't argue, you say, that's my normal voice. What are you talking about now? Unlearn it. That's how I am. That's who I am. That's how I was raised. Did you get to that point? No. Start to unlearn it. And believe you me, this is not something you learn in one day. Neither will you learn it in 1 year. If you're 30, believe me, you need another 30 years. Or maybe less. But at least as much as that. To be able to deregulate the whole system. Don't expect that because you attended this class, all of a sudden, you will now become that person. So if you know that you're coming from home of shouters, you're my table. Oh, my father can yell and raise voice. Be conscious of it now. When they tell you raise your voice, say, okay, sorry, lower it and continue. Why are you arguing? Reduce it. Don't argue. We are not infallible. You're already making mistakes. Calm down. And all of us are coming from somewhere. You must be humble enough to actually be able to do all of this. So keep your voice low. Move. You can move, little gestures with your hand. That will help you to actually communicate calmness. I really want to tell you, when you actually talk, right, with your hands, with your body and all of that, there's something it does to you. You are able to actually be calmer, right? So that you don't get, all tensed up. And then lastly, boundaries. Calm people lead firmly. You can be gentle without losing respect. People buy your head, not because of your words, but because of the energy you radiate. Did you hear me? Calm authority shapes your environment more than any lecture. Let me say that again. People buy your head, not because of your words, but because of the energy you radiate. Calm authority shapes your environment more than any lecture. I want you to practice what I call low stretch moments. Calm is like a muscle. It strengthens with intentional repetition. The more you practice calm under small gestures, the easier it becomes under big ones. Are you getting it? Let's move. Now, what's the difference, right? We want to go to the point. Let me say a bit about how anxiety becomes climate in your home. An anxious parent raises a vigilant child. If you are always very vigilant, hey, let me watch. You are vigilant, you just want to know. Hey, that's what it's coming from, your parents' anxiousness, right? An angry parent raises a defensive child. If you are always defensive, it means that you were raised by an angry parent. Always defending. No. This one she said, you're always defending. Stop defending. Let your guards down. A fearful parent raises an avoidant child. You don't want to have conversations. You don't want to come to classes like this because they will trigger some things. You are afraid of what you will see. Children adapt to survive your emotional weather. If the room feels unpredictable, they become very hyper alert. If correction comes with emotional explosions, they become either aggressive or withdrawn. If love feels conditional or performant, they become perfectionists or they will rebel. So your emotional state is not private, it's architectural. It builds the internal house your child will live in for the rest of their lives. Many parents are trying to discipline behavior while they are broadcasting emotional chaos. That contradiction confuses your child forever. Now, let's talk about the difference between calm and compliant. Many well-behaved children are not regulated. They shut down. They shut down. They shut down. And this is very important. The difference between calm and compliant is shut down children are always praised. They are compliant. Don't raise a compliant child. They don't talk back. They don't cry. They don't question anything. They just obey. But obedience without emotional safety is not actually strength. It's suppression. So calm is internal. Calm is internal. If it is a child, when a child feels, safe enough to make mistakes, to disagree, you need to see our children disagreeing with us. So a parent came to me and said that the daughter, brought out one of the things that she owned, and then, she wore it, she used it and all of that. She's like, that's a sign of disrespect. Why did she? I was like, okay. I was a bit worried. It's just like when, people share that, their in-law came and opened their pot of soup and carried soup from the kitchen. I used to actually feel like I'm an alien. It's just a pot of food. Take yourself out. Time will not permit me to talk about why that happens and why you are emotionally, attached to things like that. Maybe tomorrow I'll talk a bit about that, but let me finish my slide. All right. Now, your children don't question anything. They don't talk back. They don't cry. They just obey. And if you're listening to me and you are saying, oh, I don't need this inner circle, I don't need this, continued class. My children are very together. I'm the one, once I just walk on myself, they just respect everything I say. You have suppressed them. Right? You have suppressed them. Calm is not you being quiet. According to Coach Ebuka, quietness is not the fruit of the spirit. A calm child is not afraid of you. A calm child trusts you. A calm child can be corrected without collapsing. They can hear no without losing themselves. Losing themselves. Now, compliance. Let me talk to you about compliance. Compliance, fear, pressure. Compliance is external. It looks good. But beneath it is fear of punishment, fear of rejection, fear of emotional withdrawal, desire to avoid shame. A compliant child may stop talking, not because they understand, but because they've learned that it's safer to disappear. They may say, okay, but inside that feeling, they feel unheard. They may look very respectful, though internally, they're just anxious. Compliance can be created quickly. Regulation takes time. Compliance is controlled behavior. Regulation is internalized self-control. Many of you are focused on compliance. They are focused on compliance. Just want them to comply. Somebody said, man, my dad still does when they ask questions. That's what they understand. That's what they understand. So it's important that you need to begin to ask yourself, I want you to shift from, is my child quiet, to, is my child safe enough to be fully themselves around me? Sometimes it's not just, peace. It's just them protecting themselves. If your child has never challenged you, I want you to actually take this in. If your child has never challenged you, ask yourself, is it because they respect you or is it because they fear you? I want you to sit with you with this question. That's where the transformation starts. So last year, we were on vacation in Japan. And I was walking towards somebody. I think the person hit me or something. And then the person said, "Oh, sorry," and then passed. Me, I was still doing, "Why did you hit me?" Kind of, I was still doing body like, what, can't you see? My son tapped me and said to me, "Mom, you were wrong and you didn't apologize." Hey, I said, "Me wrong?" Hey, God. He said, "But when you were passing, you were on the wrong lane. You hit that young man. The young man passed you, apologized, and you did eye up and down." Parent coach Bao, Africa's number one. I said, "Oh, come on." In fact, I was so humble that I said, "Okay, Ayo." He said, "Go back and apologize to the man. You were wrong." I had to walk back and say, "Oh, sorry." That's when you know that you have raised people who are actually not compliant. I want you to think about the things, the people that you are raising. Are they the people that can hold you accountable tomorrow? Remember that you're going to be old, right? I'm going to get to a point where your wisdom can't save you anymore. Right now, we have fathers, my husband and I. My father-in-law is a professor. My dad was a teacher. Smart people. But we are actually the ones who are able to help lead them at the point where they are. Will you raise children who will be able to hold you accountable without you feeling that you are infallible? You're not God. You're not God. Your children are allowed to say no to you. If your child cannot say no to you, you're raising a compliant child, because it's not every time you feel like doing everything. Your child is compliant. Your child is compliant. I tell you another story. Our daughter, somebody had come, had finished, serving, and it was during the festive period. And then, she likes to cook. Our daughter cooks very well, and she cooks better than I do. And then, if he pops up, and it was, when we thought that I needed to entertain. And then the visitor was sitting in the parlor, and I then called my daughter, "Please, can you help me? Just come and let's start prepare jollof rice or something so that this person can eat." My daughter said, "Mom, no, I'm tired. I need to actually go and take some rest. I've cooked all day and I need to take some rest." There was no information about this visitor, this guest coming today. So I didn't prepare my day. I'm so tired. I need to just catch some rest. Maybe you can find something lighter to entertain this guest with. We don't have to cook. I said, "Okay, fair, bye-bye." I was tempted at that point. I was tempted to say, "After everything," I just said, "Auntie, calm down." The girl said she's tired now. What's the problem? That's how we go. We go on and on. Do you know how me too have suffered? Somebody said no to you. You are intimidating them to say yes. Someone says no to you. You are intimidating them to say yes. Tomorrow, you are asking why your child couldn't say no to a stranger. And you're asking yourself why you can't say no to people. It's because you were taught that the word no is prohibited and is a sin to say no. So the moment anybody says no to you, it triggers you. People say that I say no without explanation. I'm like, because I understand boundaries. I take no and I say no. Right? So at the end of the day, this girl left me and then went upstairs, and I decided, you know what? I can cook the rice now. After all, am I not the one? She rested like about 30 minutes. Came down and she said, "I still saw that you continue to cook this rice. And I know that your jollof rice is not the best there is. And I just came to help you so that at least, it won't be any this thing." I said, "Thank you so much for cutting into your time of rest to come and help me. I appreciate it." At that time, it was very difficult for me not to say, "I carried you for 9 months. As I say it, you do it. I'm your mother." Many of us react strongly to no or feel guilty saying it because of lessons we absorbed from our parents. No was forbidden or was even shamed. Maybe your parents, teachers, authority figures punished you for refusing, for resisting, for asserting yourself. So the nervous system learned no is dangerous, no is disobedient. Saying no is wrong or is sinful. The ripple effect. When someone says no to us now, our system reacts. We're not reacting rationally, we react emotionally because it remembers shame, fear associated with refusal. So when we hesitate or struggle to say no to ourselves with the same imprint, we learn that refusal is forbidden. So we comply and over explain. Most of us over explain. And then adults wonder why children can't say no to strangers, can't assert boundaries. Children mirror what they observe. So if you never say no, or if saying no was shamed, your child learns yes is safe, no is dangerous. So say no when necessary. It's not about being rude. So I taught my children how to say no without communicating rudeness. Is a thing. It's a thing. So when my daughter said no to me, it wasn't rude. She actually said to me, this is why I can do that now. It might not all go well with you where you are, ma. But please, for self-preservation's sake, I think I need to be able to, do things and rest and all of that. So now, on a normal day, right? You as a parent, I want to ask you what you would do in that situation. So that's where honor comes in. Because over the years, we taught our children honor. They understand the difference. So they won't be rude. They won't say, no, I'm not doing it. I don't know. I beg. No, 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 no. You won't say that. Not in my home. But you are allowed to say no. Oh, you are. See, it's just like the concept of saying sorry. You know that we're raised with our parents, the people that raised us were so ego driven that sorry was like a blood tonic to them. And most of you, sorry is like a blood tonic to you. Why you did not even tell me sorry? Why did you tell me sorry? Yesterday, one of my team members said, "You're allowed to tell me sorry." I said, "Don't you tell me sorry, please." I usually tell my team members that when it comes to sorry, I'm not driven. I have two children. I can go home and say, "Be telling me sorry for morning to night." And you notice that mostly in the office, you see that female staff, that's me, because I'm an employer of labor. I see a lot of female staff. The moment you just say, sorry, ma, sorry, ma. So I'm like, okay. I don't like the word sorry. Do the thing. But because of where we are coming from. So many of us were raised in an environment where saying sorry, right, was weaponized and demanded. All right? So is it that apologies are not good? No, they are. But apologies should be done with intentions. So you see, apologies were used as control or ego fuel. Authority figure, who made sorry, they made it as a way of asserting dominance. You punish, reinforce shame. It became less about taking responsibility and more about feeding an adult ego or pride. Why didn't you say sorry? Now you owe me. Come on. And of course, as adults, some of us are either obsessed over apologies. You wait for validation or righting the wrong, and then you weaponize sorries for yourself, using it to control and guilt trip other. Emotional reactions are triggered by the history of apology as shame or as obligation, not by the act itself. So when you demand sorry as punishment or you ego feed, your children absorb shame. They learn to perform. When I say sorry, just say sorry to them. They're not really learning anything. So the power of apology lies in authenticity. Reflection and repair, not in ego satisfaction. Children and adults need to learn the meaning of sorry, not the fear of saying it. Somebody's asking, so how do you teach your children to say sorry with intentions? One of the things that you want to do, all right, when you actually want to teach your children on saying sorry with intentions, is to be able to get them to, first of all, take responsibility. So the first thing that we do for our children when there is a problem is take responsibility for it. So responsibility, reflection. When people are able to sit with what has happened, They are able to see where the gaps are. Now, the question to ask to guide them in taking responsibilities: what happened? How did this action affect others? What you're trying to build is emotional intelligence. You're building self awareness, you're building ownership, you're not building fear. Now, then you express the understanding. A meaningful apology will include acknowledging the impact on the next person. I'm sorry I broke your toy. I see it made you sad. You're trying to teach your children empathy, not just compliance. Number one, responsibility. Number two, reflection. Number three, repair. Teach your children repair. Repair. Encourage them to make amends. I'll help you fix it. I'll be more careful next time. It turns sorry into a constructive action, not just a reflective word. My big brother is here. Well done, Pastor Ume. A child who learns to say sorry intentionally develops emotional intelligence, accountability, and integrity. So the nervous system learns reflection, empathy, repair, not just shame. So one of the things that we do with the twins is that when something happens, so something happened recently, and I think my daughter said, just say, I can't remember what she said to Ayo. We're all in the kitchen, four of us. We didn't say, apologize to him now. Why is he sorry now? We just said to her, this thing you said, do you think that it was the right thing to say? By the time we were done, she was so sober. We didn't say anything. We left the place. And then eventually she goes to her brother and says, oh, that thing I said, I didn't really mean it that way. I was just, it came from a joke and then it slipped through to become something when I bantered about. And then I just said it. I didn't think about it. Responsibility, reflection, repair. Stop telling your children to just say sorry. Now, what are the signs of calm? I've told you already that I'm going to send you the diagnostic checklist. It's not about judging your child. It's about observing the emotional atmosphere. A calm child can disagree responsibly without panicking. My children disagrees all the time without being rude, without being insulting, they disagree. Mom, no. Dad, no. I do not think that this is it. Something we had a meeting, a family meeting, and we're trying to actually, get a name for something that we were doing. And then my children goes, this is the name. And then I come and say, this is the name that, I think it should be. My husband said, yes, that's the name. My children carried my husband on their mind for the rest of the year. Like, so why did you call us for the meeting? Your wife just said one name and you took it. It's okay. So next time, we're not supposed to come. We're not supposed to suggest. In fact, they said it so much that my husband was like, what kind of trouble is this? So they're actually allowed to disagree. They're allowed to create fun around the things that happen. They're allowed to cry. Allow your children to cry. They can cry. They're allowed to recover after correction. They're allowed to recover. Let them to take some time off to reflect. It mustn't be how. So you finish shouting on the child. You go to the room. Why are you now there? Why? Open that door now. What is going on? What's going on? You beat a child. You tell the child not to cry. I will give you. You are crying a bit. I will even give you more reasons to cry. Are you a witch? Because that's how it sounds to me. Like somebody is already saying that this is how they feel. You corrected somebody. She feels bad. And it's okay. Allow them time for reflection. You go there, younger than, is it this small thing I said to you? Auntie, uncle, Sama, please now. Allow the child to process it. All right? So sometimes you tell some children some hard stuff and they want to actually process what it is that you said, maybe like a few hours and all of that. Even if you're going to go back and repair, go with restitution. Don't go with war. You go with bazooka, open the door, you are shooting everywhere. Why not open the door and say, okay, so you're not feeling bad about, but you know that this thing I told you, this is why I said this to you. I tell you a very simple example. I like to use myself as an example. So my daughter tied the scarf and I felt there's somebody she saw that tie scarf there, she copied. I was like, this scarf, if you want to tie scarf like this person, this scarf, meanwhile, the scarf was really nice. Witchcraft in parenting is a thing. And I was asking myself, why is it you're handing the girl? But underneath, there was something more. It wasn't about the scarf. Anyways. And then I finished saying, this scarf, I finished. And I went. A few days later, my husband said to me, You know that your correction was actually uncalled for. What was that about? A scarf. What's the issue? Is it more than a scarf? I said yes. And then I told the story. He said, yes, even at that, you didn't handle it well, my dear. I said, okay, I shall apologize. I shall find a way. And then I meet my daughter. I went to buy 2 scarves. And then I said to her, you know what? I went to buy a scarf. I tied it and it looked so nice. You know, when my husband taught me was the day I now tied the same kind of scarf. And I was looking so fine. The Lord shall forgive me. And then my husband said, but you're tying this scarf. It looks so fine. But you dragged somebody for it. And I was sick. And I confessed that it was more than a scarf. And then I went and bought 2 scarves. And then I put it together. And I said, And I went to her. I said, I bought one fine scarf for you. You like it. She looked at me. She was confused. And I said, do you remember the last time I was dragging you about scarf? It was not about scarf. Let me tell you what happened. When I finished, she said, Shebi, if I said it that time now, you would have said it's not true. I said, I've said it now. Yeah, I'm sorry. That is scarf. You will go and still fight the child that you have made mistake on. Why are you fighting, ma? Why are you fighting? You made a mistake. Take time and do restitution. Maybe sometimes that not that what I said was wrong. The way it was said was not okay. You're not infallible. You're not God. Wake up, ma, sir. Wake up. There was a day our daughter was, doing something. I think my husband spoke about, something. She just said, Ife, no, this, and then she came upstairs. I said, nah, you shall go and do restitution inside that room that you're coming from now. He said, I said, you find a way, oh. And then he said, okay, I'm going down. I said, if not, you're in trouble. And then he goes down. And then in a few minutes, and then everything is all right. Somebody said, what's in all this scarf, because you guys are not nice. I'm telling you guys too much. If you want to hear more about me, my stories, they're very interesting, join in a second. Ask the others. I have a lots and lots of. I teach with myself because I want you to understand that this is not about perfection. It is about the process of being, right? It's about the process. So I want to tell you how uninfallible that I am, but very conscious. I'm a very conscious. I've grown my emotional intelligence to the point where, I'm conscious enough to actually see these things. So saying sorry can, should not become reflex, a way to survive authority. No, should be genuine expression of responsibility. All right. So don't do reflex apologies. When you go to work, you apologize, you preemptly, you undercut yourself. If I don't see, you're always saying sorry. So it's mirroring your nervous system in print. That's what you're actually doing. All right. So these are signs of compliance. Okay. I said I'm going to share the checklist with you. Immediately go silent when corrected. Your child is corrected. They just, keep quiet, no conversation, nothing. They're compliant. They don't want any trouble. They avoid eye contact after mistakes. They apologize quickly. That child that says, you say, my child, this is my child, very good. She does not give me trouble. Once I say you did, you say, sorry, sir. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful with. You must be careful with compliant children. Very careful. You can ruin them. I know what I'm saying. You can ruin them. Compliant children can be, they can be a problem. They hide under small problems to avoid reaction. They are perfect around you, but they are different with their peers. They say, I don't know when you ask them questions. They rarely express anger, but somewhere else they are exploding. They seem tense in your presence. They fear disappointing you more than making mistakes. I don't want to disappoint my parents. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this way. They obey quickly, but they struggle to self-regulate alone. If you check many people, your children may be adapting, they are not regulating. So after you correct your child, ask yourself, did they soften or they shrunk? Did you get that? After correcting your child, ask yourself, did they soften or they shrunk? Did they learn or they just submitted? Did they connect or the distance increased? Did they come, stay connected or they disconnected to survive. Now, something happened recently, and I was having a conversation with my daughter, and I finished correcting her about something, and she came back, she came back to me, became, back to me, and all of that. We're talking. You need to understand that if you don't, like I was sharing this morning with inner circle parents, if you don't create connection systems, after correction, you lose the connection. If you don't create connection systems, after correction, you lose the connection. This is very important. All right. So the checklist will come to you and you'll be able to actually regulate it back. Now, let me teach you the regulation ladder. This is an exclusive framework that I've created for you to be able to understand what it is that you need to do. But before the regulation ladder, let me share with you the rebuilding safety plan. Let me check if I had shared. Okay. The rebuilding safety plan. If you find yourself that you're raising a compliant child, what do? My child may be compliant but not regulating. Just breathe. Awareness is not failure. Awareness is leadership. You're not behind. You're becoming intentional, and safety can be rebuilt. Number one thing you want to do is lower the emotional volume. Compliance often forms in emotional intense homes, not necessarily abusive homes. Compliance comes in an emotionally intense home, not necessarily abusive homes. So just loud homes, reactive homes, unpredictable homes. Your first assignment is simple: reduce the intensity. It means fewer lectures, fewer raised voice, fewer dramatic reactions, slower responses. Children cannot feel safe in volatility. Never. It's all this. I had to hit my child. We don't hit our children. We don't own canes. So there's no volatility in our environment. It doesn't exist. So even if your intentions are good, your nervous system must become steady before the nervous system can trust yours. So the first thing you want to do is to lower that emotional volume. One of the things that you want to do is to actually sit, right? If you're that parent trying to work on that, sit with this book, Raising the Emotionally Skilled Child. That's something that's going to help you to be able to build all of that. So lower that emotional volume. Number two, separate correction from connection withdrawal. Many compliant children are afraid of losing love. Many compliant children are afraid of losing love. So they perform to maintain love. So they begin to say, I didn't like that choice, but I still like you. We need to fix this, but we're okay. I'm correcting you, not rejecting. So over time, their brains start to believe it. They start to believe that I just need to perform, to maintain it, which is a problem. Then step 3, invite emotion back into the room. Compliant children stop expressing emotion because it doesn't feel safe. What do? You need to reopen that door. How do you reopen that door? Ask the questions. How did that make you feel? What were you thinking when that happened? Are you upset? Are you upset with me? And, what you need to do is, when you ask your child this, so in the inner circle, there's something we do. We say to parents, share, ask your children how your parenting is doing in the now. Sometimes you finish hearing it, you want to actually fight. Like some things that they tell you. If your children really open their mouth to give you the real review of who you are, you might run away from your home. I'm telling you. It was Apostle Wakonobe, Apostle is here, that said that after he joined Inner Circle, and then he now started practicing, now started, working. Apostle, are you here? Shout out to you, sir. He now started practicing. He was in my office and telling me these things. He said one day, the children came to him and said, Daddy, you're not behaving like a human being. You used to behave like a beast. He said, Jehovah Nissi, me, beast. Do you know what it means to behave like a beast? But that's what the children saw. And before then, they were very compliant. They didn't say anything bad about him. They didn't say, shout out to you, Apostle, sir. They didn't say anything about him. They didn't say everything was okay. He just comes, Lion of the tribe of Judah. Whoa, 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 whoa. They just comply. Somewhere in his mind, he was being the best father. He wants to do. The children saw him as a beast. A beast. So, do you know what a beast is? An apostle is a pastor. Imagine when he's now preaching and the children are like, what's he saying? What's he saying? And they are not able to connect. Who you were or who you are, if your children give you the real review of you, you might not survive it. You not survive it. This is very important. A parent reached out to me and told me she has children who are in university. One is studying medicine in fifth year and all of that. And she said, send me a voice note that the daughter sent to her. He said, all those things you did. Oh, yes, we're all good children. People have studied medicine, go to school, do everything. He said, but we're a mess. It was hard to swallow. Even me, I could feel the voice notes in my skin. This is after about 30 years of marriage. And for her, she said all those things are doing church, this one, do you force us to do this one? The bass was a lot. Our children, your children will humble you. When you review your parenting journey, they will humble you. And when they do, please take it in. If you have not read the book, The Parenting Reset, every other has a copy. Go and get a copy. Right? That's one of the books that you need. The Parenting Reset. How to start over when you've gotten it wrong. When you've gotten it wrong. This is very important. Apostle, you're a popular jingle. See the comment section buzzing with your name. Come on now. Yada father with a difference. Shout out to you, sir. We're loyal to your government. President General, Yada Fathers International, Inner Circle, International, the Intentional Parent Worldwide. All right. So let's go. So invite emotion back into the room. Don't punish their answer. If they say, I was angry, don't escalate it. Your child comes to you and say, I'm angry. You say, why are you angry? Why? What is the problem? Why are you angry? The child said they are angry. You are now angry that they said they are angry. You are the one that actually asked, though. No be which be that. Okay? Calm down now. You asked and they answered you. Don't escalate it. Validate it. I understand. It makes sense. Validation does not equal agreement. It's safety. Number 4, reward honesty more than perfection. Reward honesty. If your child admits a mistake, don't overreact. Even if it's serious, your response is very important. In that moment, that's what determines whether honesty continues or disappears. I'm going to talk about lies tomorrow. Right? Thank you for telling me. It takes a lot of courage. Then correct calmly. If fear is removed, confession will increase. If fear remains, secrecy will grow. I say that again. If fear is removed, confession increases. If fear remains, secrecy will go. There are lots and lots of things you will not hear about your children because you've not created the atmosphere. People enter inner circle. 1 month into it, their children are telling them they've been raped in their houses. How did it happen? And you were there. Some parents come to me so weak, crying, weeping. The truth of the matter is that you never created that atmosphere. It's the atmosphere that you need. That atmosphere is important. And I see it happen over and over again. Parents are constantly in that place because you didn't create the atmosphere for your children to come to you to say, this is what has happened to me. How do you stay in a home? A child is being molested. A child can't say anything to you, but they're very compliant. They're very compliant. Step 5, allow small pushbacks without power struggles. Let your child be able to push back. Let your child be able to have a bit of a challenge. Yes. Let your child be able to say, I don't like that rule. It's okay. Don't shout, don't talk back at me. Why not say you don't have to like it? But it's okay, it still stands. My children say some things I don't like. I say it's okay, you don't like to like it for you to do it. It's okay not to like. Even me, the other day my husband said, I don't like that. I have to go to work. My children just started laughing. My dear, I don't like that I have to go to work. I wish I don't have to. But I need to go to work. So I'm saying, so why could you do that? You're talking back. Calm down. Step 6, repair the past. This is what you need. Repair the past. You need it. Some of you need to go back to apologize to your children today. If you recognize that you have parented from fear, say it. I realize that sometimes I've actually reacted strongly. I'm learning to stay calmer. You don't have to be afraid to talk to me. I'm going to start to do, stuff. I've joined an accountability system. I am in a school to learn how to parent. Say it to your child. Especially those of us who have teenagers and have adult children. They will do you must stay on it. They'll do it like this. Teenagers hate hypocrisy. They want to see it happen steady. So when you are done saying it, they will say, let's be watching you. They will try you with everything. But stay on it. Stay on it. So that's number 6. So I said, number 1, lower the emotional volume. Number 2, separate correction from connection withdrawal. Number 3, invite emotion back into your room. Number 4, reward honesty more than you reward perfection. Number 5, allow small pushback without power struggles. Let them be able to push back a little bit. Number 6, repair the past. Yes, you can. And how to repair the past is to get yourself in an accountability system, very, very steady. All right. In a real compliant recovering child. I love it. All right. At first, your child may test you. They may express more emotion. They may disagree. But don't panic. It's not about disrespect. It's about toying. You are toying it. A frozen child melts before they regulate. I need you to stay steady. Stay steady. All right. This is very, very important. Now, why is it that calm never works? Telling a child to calm down doesn't really work. Why it never works is that when a child is overwhelmed, the system activates. The emotional center of the brain takes over. So calm down doesn't really work. Okay? And what's the damage? The damage of calm down has done in parenting is that calm down has created more emotional sin. Children learn that big feelings are unacceptable, so they stop expressing their feelings. There's also emotional suppression. They push their feelings down instead of processing them. Allow them to process it. Right? It resurfaces later as aggression, as anxiety, as people pleasing, as emotional numbness, as teen rebellion. And then there is also a third part, the nervous system deregulation. When children are left alone in emotional storm repeatedly, their brain does not learn regulation, it learns survival. And then there's also fear-based compliance. They may stop quickly, but there's no regulation. I've talked about that. So when parents say, calm down, you say it because you feel overwhelmed. You were told the same thing while you were growing up. You were punished for your emotions. You don't know what else to say. So you try to silence the storm instead of stabilizing it. But silencing the emotion does not teach emotional regulation. So instead of calm down, say to your child, I am here. I see you. That was frustrating. I get it. But let's breathe. Your feelings make sense. The other day I told my son, I said, your feelings are very valid. And it's okay. I'm not going to actually, but we'll talk about it when you're done. Notice something. You need to regulate first, then you instruct later. I want you to write this in your notes. Regulate first, instruct later. A child who is angry is not a listening child. An angry child is not a listening child. Regulate first, instruct later. Regulate first, instruct later. You contain emotions. You don't shrink emotion. Containment is strength. Shrinking will actually kill the strength. So when a parent repeatedly says, calm, during a child's storm, all right, you need to now begin to help your child. That's what helps a child to begin to really be calm, all right? A deregulated parent, again, cannot teach regulation. If you are calm down when you're angry, you're modeling the opposite of what you're demanding. Children do not copy your words, they copy your nervous system. When your child is overwhelmed, ask yourself, are you trying to control their emotion or are you willing to lend them your calm? Because one creates silence, the other creates strength. All right? Now, every time that I read the book of Mark, I think it's Mark, I was reading that this morning. Mark chapter 4:34, Jesus was calming the storm. All right, his disciples were in the boat. The violence was rising. The waves was crashing. The boat was filled with water. There was panic. And then they were waking Jesus. Teacher, don't you care that we're perishing? Notice something. Jesus never said, calm down. Jesus didn't say, calm down now. He did not rebuke their fear first. He calmed the storm first. Then he spoke to them. He regulated the environment before correcting the reaction. So the disciples were grown men, fishermen, experienced, strong, yet fear hijacked them. If grown men can panic in storm, why are you shocked that your children are panicking in storm? Jesus didn't shame their fear, he stabilized the atmosphere. He said, why are you so afraid? Correction comes after calm. Connection remains intact. That's co-regulation. If you can correct after calm, that's you don't correct in the spur of the moment. Can you stop shouting in the spur of the moment? It doesn't do anything. When the storm raged, the disciples' nervous system went into survival mode. Jesus was asleep. Why? Because his internal state was not dictated by the external chaos. He was a thermostat. He was not the thermometer. His calm became their stability. And once the storm was quiet, their nervous system could hear the truth. Now, when your child is screaming, your child is crying, your child is overwhelmed, they are in a storm. If you shout, calm down, while panicking yourself, you become a second storm. And when you stay grounded, right? Your tone is steady, okay? And your body is slow, then that's when you are now trying to now do things better. That's what Jesus did in the boat. He didn't silence the disciples. He silenced the storm. The problem is not the child. The problem is the storm. When you look at Proverbs 15 verse 1, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Notice, gentleness doesn't remove authority. It removes escalation. Harshness multiplies the regulation. Gentleness stabilizes it. That's wisdom written in thousands of years ago. It was written in thousands of years ago. So when your child is emotionally drowning, are you shouting instructions from the seashore? Or are you sleeping in the boat with calm authority? Because children don't need louder parents in the storm. They need anchored parents who can stop the storm, can then correct them afterwards. If Jesus handled fear by bringing peace first, why do you try to bring, other chaos? Why not bring peace? Co-regulation is not modern psychology. It was modeled by Jesus. Calm the storm, teach the lesson. That's kingdom parenting. Come on now. Alrighty, let us go to the last lap of this class, the regulation ladder. So one of the things you want to do is, how do you learn this framework? Recognize the regulation early. Before meltdown, what's happening? Stabilize the body, name the emotion, return to teaching later. Don't teach in the storm. That's it. He stops the cycle of repeated shouting. He stops the cycle of power struggles, emotional, meltdown, and all of that. Let's go to the everyday examples that we see every day. All right, everyday examples we see every day. Ages 2 to 4, what I call the floor tantrum. Your child throws a tantrum on the floor in the supermarket. Typical response: stop crying. You are embarrassing me. What's really happening? It is that the immature nervous system is there. There's overstimulation, no words yet, but a lot of big feelings. Emotional intelligence response: lower your body, soft your words, come to their level. I see you, you're overwhelmed, I'm here. Result: you're going to have a faster calming and fewer future tantrums. Try it and you see a lot of results. Ages 5 to 8, sudden anger or tear after small things, over small things, right? Your child screams because their socks feel wrong. They brought 2 legs. They are now screaming. Or their homework is too hard. I don't know. The mistake you make is that you overreact. Some of you even beat children for not knowing what to write on homework. Are you a witch? What's going on? Are you that's bad behavior. We don't do that here. So please don't do it. All right? So yes, you're overreacting. So the brain is actually emotional overload. It is a less skill capacity. Their brain interprets the frustration as danger. What do you do? Skill building response. The first thing to do is regulate first. Teach emotional labeling. Break the task into smaller, steps. They are teaching them frustration, tolerance, and avoidance. But what do you do? When they're doing that homework, you say, you can't do it. You bring that, bring it. You do homework. Why are you doing homework for your child? Please don't do it. We have a course coming up called Understanding Your Child's Learning Style. That's the next course that we're having in the academy. All right. You can actually start to subscribe for it. One of the things you're going to learn at Understanding Your Child's Learning Style is the ability for you to understand how your child learns, what you can do for them, and how they can study on their own. I've never done homework with the twins. My children are in SS2. I don't even look at, except they're on a crossroad. They're like, okay, so what do you think about that? And we tell them how to go about it. We don't do homework. Why are you doing homework for your child? All right. I don't know. Somebody said, "What about wizards?" Please take witchcraft. Witchcraft in the Bible, there was nothing like wizardcraft. It was same thing. Male, female practice witchcraft. It's same thing. So we don't. You see this thing you're asking now. We don't do that here either. All right. Okay. So ages 9. My slide team. So yes, understand your child learning style. When your registration is open, you can actually begin to register. That course is next month. It's one course that will change the way that your children study and how they, if your child struggles with academics, this is something that you want to look at. Now, ages 9 to 12, shut down, silence, and aggression. Okay, your child goes quiet, slams door, snaps back. You misinterpret it. They are rude. What is happening? The puberty brain is reorganizing. There's heightened emotional sensitivity because they probably didn't learn how to regulate themselves early. There's reduced verbal access under stress. What do? Fewer words. Stop talking plenty. All right? Stop talking plenty. Okay? That second parents will not help me. Where are you a bird? There was a particular class that were there. I was asking, why are you singing? Are you a bird? Even me, I went that class later. I had a good laugh. Okay, I like that you have a lot of humor in between this, and I'm loving it. All right. So yes, you can see that I've increased my humor quotient. It's going up. I'm learning very well. Come on now. All right. So reduced verbal access. All right. So delay correction. Safety first. Communicate first. Connection before conversations. Okay, then teens, there's a leave me alone. Leave me alone at teens level. Teenagers appear defiant, but they are emotionally flooded and self protecting. When you correct at this point, you increase rebellion, you reduce trust, you push teenagers, underground emotionally. All right, and regulation teaches you emotional literacy. Teach them what to say, self-control, accountability later. Everything is not by force, by fire, by force. We know that's what our parents did. Fire, 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 fire everywhere. I don't even know what he ended up doing for us. Conversation for another day. Now, of course, you realize that my child is not giving me a hard time. They are having a hard time. I want you to put that in the comment section. My child is not giving me a hard time. They are having a hard time. That moment alone changes everything. Changes your discipline style. It changes your emotional climate of the home. It changes everything that you actually do have. All right, where's my slide, okay? It changes everything that you actually do have. All right. It changes long-term parent-child trust. So why not get to that point? All right. I want you to stop asking, how do I stop this behavior? And start asking, how do I build the emotional skill that is missing in this part of my child so that I will begin to work with my child? So you see, the problem is not the child, the problem is you. I need you to actually sit with these words and ask yourself, why am I missing it? So that I can begin to redo it. People come to us and say, coaches, because you don't have stubborn children. My two children are strong-willed, heavily strong-willed. The difference is what we know, my husband and I, is what we know. Look at us. We'll sit down with this class. We'll go, we incorporate the things we've learned, and we sit again, all right? And then put it together again. So if your child is a compliant child, there's something missing. Go and deal with it. Your child will need to recover from being compliant. If not, you make a mess of them in the future. One of the things that I want you to take home today is that your environment is a big factor. Don't go on this journey without getting into the academic environment. It changes everything because the more you are in the environment where you see other people do same thing, you actually have more leverage for every other thing that you do. This is where I stop for today. See you again at 2 p.m. where we're going to be having a Tuesday live cleaner and Tuesday live where we're going to be teaching different we're going to teach about beating. Why do you think you're constantly hitting the child? I will share a bit more about it, all right, and what you can do to actually begin to stop. It's beautiful that you're here. That class will just show you why you need to do the things I taught this morning and why you need to stay on it and work on it. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an amazing, amazing time. And for those of you who got distracted with my looks, I give you access to the Spirit of God right now because I don't understand what you guys were looking at. Just listen to the class and you'll be all right. Thank you so much. And I hope that you're working and using your worksheet. Please join Inner Circle. If you're not in the Inner Circle, book already. Join for 2027 cohort, which starts on the 1st of December. Don't miss it. In everything that you do, don't miss Inner Circle. Because parents in the Inner Circle have a better understanding of this conversation. I would not lie to you. They are hearing something differently, not just the things that you're saying. Have an amazing day, everybody, and see you at 2 p.m. at the cathedral.
Common phrases in the Inner Circle. Let's go.
You're coming for an Inner Circle webinar and you're not with your yellow blanket with red trimmings. Is that even a joke?
Oh, I'm running and I'm not looking back because 10,000 lions are chasing me.
I have watched all the webinars, but today, Coach came with a bazooka.
Even with my humility agbada, I still collected.
If you're not in the ark, you better enter now because flood na bia o.
In the Inner Circle, we dey walk and they show.
TIP Police is coming for you. There is no need harness here.
You definitely cannot relate because you are not in the yard.
If you are not in the yard,
why not?